Start the morning right with a cup of Vinyl Tap. Nothing beats the refreshing taste of a hot, warm mug of Vinyl Tap. Enjoy your podcast in liquid form today. Vinyl Tap. Enjoy responsibly.
2, 1.
Vinyl Tap.
I'm Jason.
I'm Jason.
I'm Jason.
I'm Jason.
And we just listened to The Cat Empire by The Cat Empire. And now someone else's turn to speak.
It was very exciting.
Yeah, it was good.
I enjoyed it. I forgot I had listened to this
Right.
album, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was very good.
We learn a lot about ourselves.
Yes.
The real Cat Empire was the friends we made along the way.
Shut the fuck up. No, it reminds me of like summer days and hanging out with mates. And
Very
shit.
summery album.
It is very summery. To sum up,
I wish that it was 9 tracks long. I feel like that pun was golden. And that was you only debut once. And they fucked it. 13 songs long. It's unlucky.
True.
I think it's a power move.
Yeah, I don't know.
It is. I feel like they knew what they were on to.
Goes for almost an hour. Look, it doesn't have to. Maybe it could have been a great little 45-minute, standard 45-minute album. A lot of these songs, they're great songs, but do they need to go for 7 minutes?
No, they don't.
Not necessarily.
They don't. I think the album could have been shorter
that's
as well.
my main gripe with the album.
I think I agree
other
with
than
you,
that,
yeah.
it's great time.
This album really just reminds me. I've never actually sat down and listened to this album. However, I have
Heard all the songs.
heard all of the songs, mostly drunk, and danced to every one of these songs.
Yes.
Like, so much dancing to this.
Yes.
And so, yeah, it's interesting, like, I don't know, listening into, like, as an album experience, I did sort of tune out at some points and just daydream about summer and beer and
Wine.
and parties, which is fine, except for the last song, which I really had a lot of issues with.
There's always something, isn't there?
There's always something.
Oh, we're gonna punch on.
We're gonna punch on. No, that last song I wasn't a fan of. I really was just disappointed in, like, as an album, the way that it finished. It was like, man, it got me, like, for a while I thought they weren't going to go to the place that I wanted it to go, and then it did with the build.
Yeah.
And then it like kept on going, and it just kind of soured actually the whole album for me. I wish it just left on the high, because the rest of it was like that for me.
Yeah, I think Manifesto would have been a better song to finish the album with, because Manifesto was like this really exciting, upbeat type of song, and all that talking. I think I agree with you. It sort of like fizzled out rather than finishing really strong.
Yeah.
It didn't need to finish big. It just didn't. I don't feel it finished strong with all that talking. I feel like, yeah, it sort of left it with a sort of sour
Yeah.
kind of feeling.
I agree that it probably isn't the best track to end the album. However, not to jump the gun, it's like individually on its own.
Oh, it's a good track.
It's my favorite song on the album.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm really not surprised by that.
It's fucking sick. So I totally get that it's like, a fizzling end to the album. For me, it was like a breath of fresh air.
Okay.
Because I like the Scar song. I like the Cat Empire song, but there were 12 of them in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not to say there wasn't any variation, but this is so different that I think it would have been great to space out some other part of the album.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think the contrast was really nice.
I think the Crowd would have been a great track to end on.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. Because, like, yeah, it, as a song, it's not necessarily the worst, but it just felt like it was, I don't know, dragging out a lot, and it was a weird contrast to it felt a bit removed from the whole
I
album.
was gonna say, if you don't want it at the end, where would you put it in the album?
May-
That it doesn't feel worse than where it is.
I don't know.
Because for me,
Yeah.
it was like okay, we're coming down and wrapping this up, which is like, well, this is the most logical place to put it, because I can understand what you're saying, and maybe they didn't need that second solo piano after the build. I could maybe agree
Yeah,
with that.
I think that was
But-
what. Yeah,
But
There's a great
besides-
raucous chorus they could have ended on. Yeah.
which is like, I could see that being an ending, but because it is such a chilled out song, I think you put it anywhere else in this and it kind of interrupts the flow of what's going on, and all that energy and momentum that has been built is then gone, and then it's kind of weird to go back to it.
yeah, yep. It also, just as a song, it kind of, you could almost divide this album thematically into two big chunks. There's like ska, Latin, and then there's like reggae inspired like vibes. This song
Basically
definitely
just is reggae. Like the reggae that you're talking about. It's just reggae.
it is just reggae.
Wouldn't you... Well, what else would it be?
I no, ska is an offshoot of reggae.
Actually, it's the other way around.
Really?
Bullshit.
Ska
Really?
came first. Yeah.
Ska came first.
Yes.
Before reggae.
Yes.
I don't believe that.
I don't believe that at all. Nope, you're wrong.
Thanks, Pete.
Yeah, thanks, Beebs.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Great.
What just happened?
In all honesty, I'm pretty sure Tim is the one who has listened to the most ska out of all of us here.
So wait,
Yeah,
okay,
that's,
so
that's great.
That's fine, but you're still
That's
not gonna-
fine.
when,
No,
when
no,
did
I
ska
refuse to
when did
believe
ska
that.
start? You have to try and back this up with something.
Before reggae.
But what do you mean? What do you mean before reggae?
You're saying the same thing twice.
Like what period roughly?
I'm pretty sure
The
ska...
romantic period?
Wow,
Yeah,
really?
that's it. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Brahms was writing ska.
Really?
He went,
Wow.
cha.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
that was Brahms.
The Brahms ska
God.
Infinity.
Yep.
Moving
I don't know,
right
the
on from that.
60s.
60s? Yeah.
60s.
I don't know.
So
I'd
ska was about
I had-
60s,
I,
and
I
reggae
don't-
came after.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know exact dates. All I know is that I'm pretty sure that ska happened. What we call ska
Yeah.
happened, and then reggae, what we would call reggae, happened after that.
Isn't ska an offshoot? Am I about to fuck this up real bad? Offshoot of punk?
There's a lot going on in terms of overlap, isn't there?
There is a
Yeah.
lot going on.
That's the image, or the story behind ska in my head. Is ska was an offshoot of
It's like-
punk and reggae.
It's like punk and
Yeah,
reggae had
yeah.
some
It's like
weird
bad,
night
it's like
together.
Bad
and-
Yeah.
Brains happened, and then people were like, "Bad Brains was really cool. Let's turn that into its let's add brass to that."
I have no. I have
Cool
no context
for
this
but anyway,
whatsoever.
Bad Brains is like punk, hardcore punk, and reggae. And I don't mean like as a fusion. Their album is literally like
Both of them.
intense
Yeah,
hardcore
yeah,
punk
yep.
and then a reggae song. Also, I'm pretty sure what song is this? They literally like Cat Empire like picked out a Bad Brains song.
There's so many Latin cliches
You're talking
across
about-
the album.
In the
Beanni?
in the Chariot.
In the Chariot.
There's literally like the reggae section in the Chariot. What's the? I can't think of what the name of the Bad Brains song is, but it's on that album. There's like it's like a cut, copy, paste bit of it, and I thought it was really cool.
Right.
They have lots of influence. I really liked it.
It is cool that they stole that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because it's yeah. I don't know if they stole it. No, hopefully they're influenced by it, but it was like that, and like the Santana references
Yeah,
and all,
yeah.
like Chick Corea references.
Yeah.
They really integrated that super nicely.
I liked
into it.
hearing fucking chiptune sounds out of the album.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like artifacts of the time, because this is early 2000s, which is a period in music where people just put random sounds in.
yeah.
Yeah, no?
I don't think it's artifacts because they have a band member, DJ Jumps.
No,
who
that's not what I meant
That's
by
not what you mean?
artifacts. I mean like it's a sign of the period.
Oh,
It's an
okay.
artifact of the time.
Okay, yeah.
Not like an error in the rendering.
Okay.
Yeah, these chip tunes. It felt like at some point it was quoting Super Mario. What song was that? I think it was Days Like These. Did you hear
Yeah.
that fucking... there was like a D add 9, and that's like the opening chord of Super Mario Bros.
There's a Chick Corea album called Spanish Fantasy, where, what's the song? El Bozo. Literally, kid you not. And it's like that line and also the tone on like the keyboard that they were using were identical.
Okay, so maybe
I
I've just interpreted the middle step because like maybe
No,
they were just
I
inspired
actually
by
think that
Chicoria.
maybe Chick Corea was, because that came after Super Mario. So
Did it?
my gut feeling is that Chick
Really?
Corea's thing was probably
When was
a
the
little
Chick Corea
bit.
thing?
I don't know. It's like the mid '90s.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's like lines
Right.
up with him possibly
Fuck.
being influenced
So
by Mario.
in my head, it was always that the chiptune composers were influenced by the jazz
I
fusion
mean, look, it's
folks.
probably a mix,
But
right?
and then you tell me that Chick Corea quoted Super Mario Bros. And here we are at Cat Empire.
I'll show you the track.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But it was cute. I like
Right.
that line. The shuka shuka shuka.
Yep.
What's that? What do you
the
call that?
DJ's name?
The record store, DJ Jumps.
DJ
I'm
Jumps.
sorry, I'm not going to remember his name. I know everyone else's name, but he's just DJ Jumps. Yeah, I really like the textural
That's
stuff.
such an early 2000s
Yeah,
DJ.
I
fucking
really
yeah.
like the textural stuff that he adds in across the album.
I like everything he does. It's never jarring, and he always seems to find the right way to do his thing.
Yeah.
It's never
Overstated.
He's a part
yeah,
of the
exactly.
band.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
just some wacky, annoying shit laid over on
It never
top.
feels like a gimmick.
Yeah.
And they work with him. Like there are moments where it's just him scratching, and then like
for them to transition into
they're
something
like the
more-
drums will come straight in on time on rhythm. Like it supports it. It sounds really really cool.
That's another thing. The drums throughout the whole album are fantastic. It's
Will-
not always powerful,
Yeah.
but they always sit where they should sit in every single song.
So Will Brown, and I'm just gonna I get when we bring up certain elements, name them all, but they're all just phenomenal musicians in
Yeah.
like their own right.
Oh, the whole
Like,
band's
across the
like, yeah,
band,
absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Which I don't know, just allows them to do all the really cool musical intricacies that they do. And like you're saying with you've mentioned it for DJ Jumps and Will, but I think just most of the instruments, there are times where they are the lead instruments and they can show off, but then they're also all of them are happy to sit back and like lock in and not be overstated so that other people can have their moments to step forwards as well. And it works in a really fun dynamic and gives them the opportunity to have all the variation that they have across their sound. Like they're not locked into, okay, this is the lead trumpetist and everything else is there supporting that all the time. Like they're changing roles across different songs and different sections of the songs.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. No wonder Jason's obsessed with textural changes.
Yeah,
No
I
wonder
had a-
Jason's obsessed with line cliches. No wonder Jason's obsessed with every Latin cliche I can think of.
Listening to this album from an analytical point of view really made me realize where a lot of my peculiarities when it comes to music come from.
Heavily influenced.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Dun 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 dun. Yeah, there was a lot of that. Are they tropes? Like are they like Latin
I
tropes
don't
and
know
things
enough
that-
Latin music to answer
I mean,
that
Answer
question.
that.
How to explain has dun ba dun 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 ba dun and like that? Come on.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's definitely Latin.
Lots of Santana. They literally in the rhythm, like they've literally got the Oyo Kamava dun 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 dun.
Also, the layers of the like rhythms. It's not everyone all the time locking into the same rhythm. It's like the interplay between the lines is so cool.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me that that's interesting to you, which is an interesting sentence, I admit. But because like, so these
Your
are brass
peasant mind
instruments,
fascinates
right?
me.
Yeah.
which are like they have a history in orchestras and like brass bands and shit, right?
Yeah.
Which is like,
Pull
keep up,
yourself together.
keep up, fellas. Like, and these ensembles, they're like composed each part individually, and so the interplay of the rhythms is like a foregone conclusion. Of course, there's going to be like weird rhythms overlapping, and then when you transplant that setting into popular music, which is what ska kind of is,
Yeah.
people are fascinated by like the actual complexity of different rhythmic parts.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's outside of ska in popular music. how do I like? Does it really happen in a lot of other popular music? Not so much that I'm aware of.
It's always when it does happen in other mainstream commercial pop music, it's always like a very limited accented bit of the song. It's not an intricate part of the whole song. Just like it's like a simple nod to the Latin music.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's just like the way that texture works for them is such an integral part to their sound. Like across one song, they're really good at building up to thick textures, dropping down to thin, having this slowly build in. There was a slow exit in one of the songs. I can't remember which one. I've written so many notes on this. But there was a part that I noticed where to wind the texture down before they exploded into the chorus, they dropped things out slowly, which is not a very common thing to do that I'm aware of.
Isn't it? I thought that happened like with
Like
some
have a
frequency.
gradual drop.
Yeah.
I think it's more obvious with the Cat Empire because there's so many layers to peel back.
Right.
There's textual percussion, there's DJ jump, there's like
The horn section.
Yeah, the horn section. It's everybody taking their step to pull back. I think that's why it's so obvious, is because it takes so long for that to happen.
Right.
I think that's why it stands out so much.
Even the vocals, I think, have almost like a textural, rhythmic part. Like
Yeah,
they're both singers are so declamatory in how they sing, and it's I don't know the names of the singers.
Harry and Felix.
I don't know the sounds to the names.
So something
who's
like
the
wine
predominant?
Song.
Who's-
Wine
yeah.
song is Harry.
Okay.
And
Okay, so-
Felix is the main singer, and Harry kind of does the.
So I
It's
think it's
almost 50-50, but Felix.
I think Harry, because Harry's got that more sort of raspy voice where, is that right? Where it's a little bit more raspy and he doesn't have like, it almost sounds like he's not actually singing.
The recitative. Kind
Yeah,
of.
the
No, I
recitative.
think that's Felix, isn't it?
Or is that Felix?
Well, they both do it.
Which I was gonna say.
They both
I
do
feel
it,
like
but
they
one
both
of
do
them
that.
is especially like,
So-
I think in Lost Song, for example. Who sings in Lost Song?
That's Harry.
Harry, yeah, okay. So like his voice, it's like, how do I put it? It's almost like the actual note part isn't there tonally or timbrally. It's just like him kind of speaking.
With
In
Almost
pitch.
just rhythmic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it adds like, and then when you kind of get that early 2000s rap kind of rhythm that's going on with this, it's like really, really cool. It stops being like the lead singer with the band and he's just another instrument. Or they're both like
That's
another
the note.
instrument.
That's the note I had as well. Is the vocals aren't always singing a melody. They're walking, or they're in the grey area, and they're rhythmic and percussive almost.
And that kind of fulfilled the same role as a bass guitar in that place,
Yeah.
being like both rhythmic and kind of pitch.
See, I would have argued they.
And the horn section's there for melody.
Well, I was gonna say they almost kind of are interchangeable with the
Yeah.
horn section in a lot of places because
Yeah.
sometimes the vocals are doing the counter melody when the horns do the melody,
Yep.
and vice versa. Like if we go
Like
to,
the melody of "Hello" is
I was gonna say.
ba-da-da-da-dun,
Yeah.
ba-da-da-da,
Yeah.
and it's not "Hello." Like, no, that's not the melody.
and that call and response across the song, and okay, this I'm gonna break down Hello because I fucking love Hello. That's what people do. But like, it's almost like a tagline. They play it so short. Like at the intro, the first and second time they do it is very short, and then that third time where they sit on it for a lot longer and jam on it, you've got an actual vocal line going over it. You've then got the call and response coming up, and like it's that big release of like we're actually here living in it as opposed to it
Yeah.
just kind of being teased.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a big party at the end there.
It's a big party.
Yeah.
The other thing in Hello, is it the Hello? Yeah. The piano and the brass.
Oh, that piano shit.
The interplay
Oh my
between
God. The
those,
counter melody of the
yeah,
piano, the
the-
counter
and
melody is
it happens
amazing.
all through this, but in Hello, it's like especially just amazing and noticeable and right there. It's like they interplay with their rhythm so that you're getting that constant sort of quaver pulse, and then sometimes it just sinks in, and like everyone's playing together, and it's like, well, what the fuck happened? And then it splits out again. that weaving is so sexy.
The only thing I don't like about Hello is the flute outro. It's fun, but I don't think it serves a purpose there.
The flute outro.
Yeah, in Hello. Yeah.
I mean the trumpet.
No, it's flute. No, the song stops. There's empty space. Then there's a flute and a drum bit at the end. It goes for like 15 seconds, 20 seconds or something.
I know.
I was expecting that to bleed into the next song, 145. I was expecting that to be part of 145 somewhere. But it's just this 20-second thing where it's just like
weird.
Bleeds to nothing.
Yeah.
It's fun. I don't hate that section. It just doesn't, I don't think it just serves
Why is
that
it
song.
Yeah.
I literally blanked it from my
I was
memory.
gonna say I forgot about it until you were like, oh yeah, it stops and then.
And that's what I mean. It's just sort of like...
not
it's
memorable.
Just,
It's not. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now that you've mentioned it, 145.
Oh my god.
What a banger!
We've attended the Leonard
Yeah.
Cohen School of announcing your harmony.
Yeah.
That's
it works so
fun.
well.
It's just fun.
Um,
What was really cool about this is the verses are in D minor, and then when we get to the chorus where it's like 1, 4, 5, we're actually then in A major. So we've gone to the dominant major key, and like it, and like you didn't notice, did you?
no, I didn't notice. Hey.
It's fucking clever. So that's how we can like, I don't know, it does that, and it feels different, but you don't notice it being different.
No.
It's fucking cool. And there's that groovy ass, I think it's a bass line, isn't it? Dum. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Crash Bandicoot.
But what was
shit.
with the weird transition to like suddenly it's like a digital,
Yes.
I got
song.
like a circus type...
but it's like a
vibe
game
to
arcade
it.
circus as well. It's like,
That's what I'm talking about with like the weird early 2000s just noises,
But
right?
was that sounds of the early 2000s? I thought that like weird computer chiptune stuff came out like later,
Yeah,
like in the 2000 teens. sort of
Right,
thing.
like the Crystal Castles kind of
Right,
shit.
yeah. Not like 2000, early 2003, where there's like, I don't know, what's going on, Hilltop Hoods? Is that early 2000s?
I think so.
Yeah, no, that's... Yeah.
like,
That's early
You say that
2000s
name in
the
my
teens. Yeah, I'm upset now.
Yeah.
why aren't they guys?
Off topic another time.
The wine
I was
song.
gonna say I feel like we'd be doing a big old disservice and not mentioning
Yeah,
the wine
okay.
song.
Yeah, of course.
Purely for the fact of the accelerando that happens.
Yeah,
in
I love
chorus.
it. I love
It's
it.
so fun
Yeah.
It's my favorite song
on the album.
on the
Yeah.
album. It's my favorite song. It's so clever. It's so fun. It doesn't happen a lot, at least not in my musical career, both performing and listening to music. I haven't found a lot of songs that do that push and pull so aggressively and so like over exaggerated, but it's so clean at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's so well done.
Yeah, it's a testament to how tight these guys are.
Yeah.
Some
It's
other-
so much fun.
Not everyone can do that.
Yeah.
Some other things that they do, so like at
Find
the
the click.
end of the verse, where there's that bass dun,
The
dun,
anticipation
dun.
into it.
So the first time they do that, it's just bass, and then
Yeah.
the second time,
The brass.
the brass do it as
Yeah.
well as the bass, and there are like these subtle things that they do so that the next time you hear it,
It's a bit.
it's a
more.
bit more, and then like texture.
Texture.
Yeah,
my
just like
notes.
little things that are really, really cool. The other thing that I noticed that I've never ever noticed before, and I love about this, is in the chorus, every 8 bars, there's a
Yeah.
and once I noticed it, I was like, I can't unhear it.
Yeah.
But it's really, really cool because it sort of it gives you that like that lift and fall and that kind of almost like circus merry-go-round kind of vibe, and it's so subtle. And I think it's probably been like what's the word when you like flash images real quick?
Subliminal.
Subliminal. There we go. It's like it being like a subliminal like I don't know, like rise and fall,
Yeah.
like a natural kind of dancing sort of thing. Anyway, that's my notes for it. Jason, go. You look eager.
We're talking about Cat Empire. Why would I not be eager? I don't know. Subtle things like in the crowd when they're in the chorus, there's like a chorus of voices. They're talking about crowded trams. Sound painting kind of stuff. Putting me on the spot. Anyone does anyone else have anything specifically that?
No, no one does.
I can go through track by track if we really
I
want to.
really loved the crowd because the whole, how long is it? Like 5-6 minutes? It's 2 chords. There's G, there's D minor. That's it. The whole fucking
Really?
song. Yeah.
Oh.
And it works.
And
They
then
did it, you know?
They get to the last chorus where it's
Oh, yeah, I love
That's
that.
I was gonna touch on that because the
Melody
2 nights,
and
the build up,
brass.
it got like droning and a bit tiresome, and I was listening to it and I was like, oh, this is getting pretty old. And then it got to the crescendo and it picked up, and I was like, oh, thank fuck, that release of tension, like
Yeah.
it
No
just made
wonder
that so
Jason
much
loves
better.
slow builds.
Yeah,
The thing is, they kind of deliver every time because
They
there are
do,
a few
yeah.
moments where I was exactly like that, like fuck. But then I'm like, I really want it to go to like a big,
and then it does.
and then it does.
Does it?
And it's
Yeah.
like, fuck, and it does it kind of just at the right time, except for the last song.
Well, it did it at the right time, but then it went back to
Yeah.
Maybe it was like just on the very edge of acceptable. I was like, at least you did it. I'll give you points for that. And then it went back, and I was like, okay, nah, you're a write-off. Can go get fucked.
Tell us how you really feel.
I'm just gonna move past that and go to what I want to say about like Beanni, where they've got the like again like sound painting
Yeah.
of like Harry and high energy for Beanni, and then Felix and the smooth jazz sound for
The
Fly
Fly
Girl.
Girl, yeah.
And
They swap though.
yeah, and they swap.
And they swap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just cool to have that like kind of contrast that they're bouncing between, because again, there's not really a verse chorus structure to that. They're just kind of bouncing between the two sounds that they have.
I liked the idea, but I don't think it ended up coming off.
Yeah, it's
be
definitely
honest.
not my favorite song.
Like,
but,
it's
like
not-
from
I
an analytical point. I
Yeah,
think it's
like
cool
as a
thing.
concept, I think it was really cool, but I just don't think that kind of whiplash from that kind of funk ska, like energetic thing to the smooth swing jazz.
It's definitely
like,
one that grows on you and is not your favorite the first listen, and it's
Yeah.
still not your favorite after a lot of listens.
Great when you're drunk. They're all great when you're drunk.
Yeah.
And then in Nothing, a similar sort of thing. They've kind of got the first chorus and verse is Felix singing, and then texturally not a lot changes besides Harry singing in the second verse and chorus. Then the trumpet kind of gets a solo across a verse and pre-chorus section and is like melodically very similar to the vocals. And then in that final chorus, all three of them come together and like harmonize and have counter melodies in this really big explosive final chorus.
Is there fucking banjo in this song? Is that what that is? It sounded like a banjo.
I can't say yes or no,
didn't-
but
I didn't
don't-
pick
I
up
didn't
on a banjo.
hear it.
Yeah.
We'll say that there is.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. There's definitely banjo.
Yeah.
there's definitely banjo.
I found the banjo.
I mean, they use a guitar in this album, like
Yeah.
more predominantly than I think they have in any of their other ones. In the rhythm, that very like Spanishy flamenco kind
I mean,
of tone.
they also have the ska,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
skank.
The skank.
Yeah, we all know what I mean.
You do. I think that's because I've heard a lot of like the original recordings of like demos and EPs of this, and
Nerd.
it was pretty much. It was more. I think they wrote more on guitar to begin with, before they filled out the band with the
Makes
people
sense.
They had.
So we touched on this briefly before the camera was rolling. Everyone in Melbourne has a story about how they know somebody from the Cat Empire. And the beauty of this table is that Jason isn't originally from Melbourne. So he's kind of like the biggest fan,
Yeah.
and yet doesn't have that, like,
A very personal
Second-hand
connection.
connection.
yeah. Do we want to all go around the table and talk about our Cat Empire
Connections.
connections?
Yeah.
Jackson, you can start.
Oh, he's obviously my second cousin.
Wait, actually?
Yeah. No.
Well, somebody that I went to school with, who I was in band with, he was actually cousins with Ross Owen. And Ross Owen used to come in all the time and give us, like, tutorials and, like, coach the band and stuff. Big
Yeah.
band. So that was cool. That was fun.
Fucking hell.
He's got a thing about intense eyes. He's like, give him the stare, like the death glare.
No.
Yeah, and he's like really full on. He like plays trumpet at you, like wanting to kill you, and you're like, holy shit. It's really cool, actually.
Plays
Yeah.
trumpet at you.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I went to the same school as you for a bit there, and Ross Owen also came into that school.
Oh, did he come into that
Yes.
school too? Oh,
Because
wow,
he
look
was
at that.
mates with our choir teacher, I think.
Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's oh no, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That totally did happen.
There you go.
Hey, Jason.
Hey,
How do you know anyone from the Cat Empire?
I don't. Click above to find out what else we've spoken about in this theme.
Click below to support the artist that we just listened to.
And make sure to tune in next week for more Vinyl Tap.
That's pretty good.